Live from Juba, on air and online.
This is iRadio News.
Hello, good afternoon. This is iRadio News. First, here are the headlines. The heads of key security institutions have agreed to work together to remove roadblocks and improve safety along major roads in the country. Youth from Unity State have raised concerns to Vice President Taban Dengai over what they describe as discriminatory practices in the awarding of scholarships and employment opportunities by oil companies operating in their home areas. And a civil society activist has stressed that peace is a key foundation for reviving South Sudan's agriculture and tackling the country's growing food crisis. This is stories and more coming to you in this news bulletin with me, Lasuba Memo, and now the news in detail. The heads of key security institutions have agreed to work together to remove roadblocks and improve safety along major roads in the country. This follows a meeting held on October 14th where the Chief of Defense Forces, Inspector General of Police and Director General of Internal Security Bureau assessed the current security situation. According to the Army spokesperson Major General Lurai Kong, the meeting resolved to permanently eliminate illegal roadblocks across the country. He said the security leaders also formed a joint force to carry out regular patrols and go after individuals or groups that may try to reinstall the roadblocks. General Kong said, and I quote, "The joint effort aims to restore public confidence and ensure the free movement of people and goods without unnecessary harassment or illegal taxation by unauthorized personnel." End quote. Many travelers, traders, and both local and foreign drivers have accused some soldiers, national security agents, and some police officers of setting up illegal checkpoints and collecting unauthorized taxes. In protest this year, truck drivers from the East African region parked their vehicles at Elegu-Nimule border with Uganda, refusing to enter the country. They cited illegal taxes and extortion by South Sudanese officials and soldiers along the roads. In December last year, the army said it had already removed all illegal roadblocks and unauthorized tax points as directed by President Salva Kiir. Youth from Unity State have raised concerns to Vice President Taban Dengai over what they describe as discriminatory practices in the awarding of scholarships and employment opportunities by oil companies operating in their home areas. In a meeting with Vice President yesterday, the youth leaders accused companies such as the Greater Pioneer Operating Company and the Sud Petroleum Operating Company of neglecting their obligations to local communities under corporate social responsibility agreements. In a post on the official page of the Office of the Vice President, the youth said these agreements require oil firms to offer educational and job opportunities to residents of oil-producing regions. The youth, represented by Jikanj Students Association and the Lake Community Association of Rukona, said that in many cases, particularly in Gwit County, these commitments have not been honored. They further criticized ESPOC for excluding students enrolled in private universities under local sponsorships, calling the practice unfair and a violation of the principle of equal access. The delegation led by Gadjan Manyachar and Sultan William Wijel War appealed to national level intervention to ensure oil companies meet their obligations and opportunities are equitably distributed among youth from Unity State. This is what they had to say.
If there is a sponsorship, at least for 4 counties, not 5, since the population in the southern part of Unity is more compared to the population in northern. What the bias for in Juba, we need to have an state to request an area for our students to live, seeing the issue of running the cup in the country is hard.
In the separate news,
if there is a sponsorship, at least for 4 counties, not 5, since the population in the southern part of Unity is more compared to the population in northern. What the bias for in Juba, we need to have an state to request an area for our students to live, seeing the issue of running the cup in the country is hard.
In the separate news,
in response, Vice President Taban Dengai pledged to raise the matter with the economic cluster, the Minister of Petroleum and heads of the respective oil companies. He expressed his commitment to ensuring that the concerns are addressed and solutions found. The discussion also touched on broader issues affecting oil-producing communities, including environmental pollution, flooding and inter-communal conflicts. The companies were not immediately available for comment. This is iRadio News. The Deputy Governor of Western Bahar El Ghazal, Zakaria Joseph Garang, has called on the National Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security to provide the state with agricultural inputs to help boost food production. Garang emphasized that empowering farmers with essential tools and equipment is crucial to increasing yields and strengthening food security in the region. Speaking ahead of the commemoration of the World Food Day in Wow yesterday, he urged farmers to invest more in agriculture, describing it as the engine of the economy and a cornerstone of sustainable development. Garang also highlighted the need for increased capital for farmers to scale up production. He stated that the state government has taken measures to ensure security across farming areas, allowing farmers to cultivate more land and supply local markets with food.
نحن برضو كحكومة بتاعت ولاية غربي بحر غزال عشان نحن نساعد في تطوير الزراعة وفي توسيع الرقعة المزروعة بالإنتاج المحلي والزراعة المحلية. نحن نطالب وزارة الزراعة القومي إنه يساعدنا في توفير مدخلات بتاعت الزراعة. عندك الإدارة الجيدة، الطريقة اللي انت تدير بها والمزرعة بتاعتك والإنتاج بتاعت الزراعة بتاعتك وتدخلها السوق ويجيب لك القروش، ده لو كنت عملته بطريقة كويسة. ان احنا بنطالب وزارة الزراعة القومي إنه يتخدينا مدخلات زراعية ثانية اللي هو الآلات ويساعدونا بالجاز ويساعد بحاجات كثيرة ممكن يساعد المزارعين عشان هم ينتجوا إنتاج كبير جدا.
Farmers across South Sudan have consistently raised concerns over ongoing challenges such as conflict, inadequate government support, especially in pest control, limited access to fuel, and the absence of stable markets for their produce. In April 2025, the economic cluster approved 62 billion South Sudan pounds to support agricultural activities ahead of the rainy season. Following this approval, the Deputy Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Lily Albino, directed all state governors and chief administrators to allocate 250,000 acres of land each for agricultural use. South Sudan possesses millions of acres of fertile, arable land along with abundant rivers and basins suitable for farming. However, despite gaining independence in 2011, the country still imports most of its basic food items, including tomatoes, onions, maize flour, cooking oil, dairy products, and beans from neighboring countries. Agricultural productivity in the country saw a notable decline in 2016, largely due to the displacement of farmers in various parts of the country. A civil society activist has stressed that peace is the foundation for reviving South Sudan's agriculture and tackling the country's growing food crisis. Grace John Kenyi, the executive director of the Center for Strengthening Community Voices, says the ongoing insecurity across the country continues to prevent farmers from growing food, worsening hunger levels, and stalling development. Speaking on iRadio's Dawn Show today, Grace called on South Sudan's political leaders to come back to their senses and implement the 2018 Revitalized Peace Agreement in full. According to her, only lasting peace will allow farmers to cultivate freely without fear.
For us to get out of this situation, the primary responsibility lies in the hand of our government. It is not in the hand of the diplomatic missions, it's not in the hand of the international community, it's not in the hand of those international NGOs, but it is our country leadership to take a step, to take a decision, to sit together and say enough is enough. They need to take this country forward in a positive way. So I would like to use this opportunity to really appeal to our political leadership to recommit themselves. They should come and have a dialogue among themselves. Dialogue is the only way to resolve our issues, to help us address so many challenges that we're encountering at the moment as a country.
Grace also urged UN agencies and non-governmental organizations not to scale back their support for South Sudan's agricultural sector, especially as the world observes the World Food Day under the theme Hand in Hand for Better Food and a Better Future.
I would like to call upon our partners and the international community to continue supporting the agricultural sector in South Sudan, to continue also talking to our government, to continue talking to our political leadership to ensure that these current challenges are addressed.
Grace Jones' comments come as the world marks the World Food Day observed this year under the theme Hand in Hand for Better Food and a Better Future. The United Nations is calling for global collaboration to create a peaceful, sustainable and food-secure future. In South Sudan, the situation remains dire. Around 7.7 million people, more than half of the population, are facing acute food insecurity, categorized as crisis or worse. Some counties, particularly in Upper Nile states such as Nasir, Ulang, Luakping, Nasir, and Malakal, are considered to be at grave risk. In some of the worst hit areas, tens of thousands of people are experiencing catastrophic hunger levels. An estimated 32,000 people in Upper Nile alone are in the IPC Phase 5, the most severe classification of food insecurity. Malnutrition, particularly among children and mothers, is also alarmingly high, with about 2.3 million children at risk of acute malnutrition. As World Food Day is commemorated globally, voices like Grace are reminding leaders that lasting peace is the first seed that must be sown for South Sudan to feed itself and thrive. Before international news, the body of former Kenyan Prime Minister Raila Odinga arrived in Nairobi this morning from India, where he passed away while undergoing medical treatment. The reception of his remains today was marked by chaotic and emotional scenes stretching from the airport to the parliament buildings. Tearful mourners lined the streets, struggling to catch a glimpse of the late leader's casket as it made its way through the capital. Security forces were deployed to control the large crowds, but the sheer number of mourners created tense moments along the route. The reactions reflect the deep sorrow and national grief following the death of one of Kenya's most iconic political figures. His remains are expected to be taken to the East African country's parliament for viewing. Raila will be laid to rest on Sunday at his ancestral home in Kisumu. On Wednesday, President Salva Kiir extended his condolences following the death of former Kenyan Prime Minister Raila, whom he hailed as a distinguished leader of integrity and a dedicated Pan-Africanist. In a formal message from the office of the President, Kiir praised Odinga's lifelong dedication to democracy, justice and national unity. Odinga spent many years as an opposition leader, losing 5 presidential campaigns, most recently 3 years ago. President William Ruto said the veteran politician who died on Wednesday while receiving medical treatment at the hospital in India was a beacon of courage and a father of democracy. This is iReady News. Now to the international scene. Here's James Atem.
Thank you, Lasuba Memo. Beginning in Africa, former Congolese President Joseph Kabila has announced a movement to save his country after a meeting with other opposition leaders in the Kenya's capital, Nairobi. The meeting, held on Tuesday and Wednesday, resolved to rally Congolese to oppose the dictatorship of President Felix Tshisekedi, according to a document seen by the BBC. Congolese government spokesperson Patrick Muyaya dismissed it as a non-event and a meeting of fugitives and convicts. Kenya's foreign ministry has not responded to the BBC's request for comment. Elsewhere, OceanGate's Titan submersible imploded on its journey to the wreck of the Titanic because of poor engineering and multiple failures to test the vessel, according to an official report. Titan imploded in June 2023, killing all 5 passengers on board, including OceanGate's chief executive. The U.S. National Transport and Safety Board found the engineering process behind the vehicle was inadequate, resulting in faults which meant it failed to meet its strength and durability requirements. And finally, US President Donald Trump has confirmed a report he authorized the CIA to conduct covert operations inside Venezuela, provoking outrage from the South American nation's leader. US forces have already conducted at least 5 strikes on suspected drug-carrying boats in the Caribbean in recent weeks, killing 27 people. UN-appointed human rights experts have described the raids as extrajudicial execution. Speaking at the White House, Trump said the U.S. is looking at land as it considers further strikes on drug cartels in the region. And that's the end of the regional and international news with me, James Satem. Now back to you in the studio, Lasuba Memo.
Thank you indeed, James Satem. And now to the world of sports. And here is Walmapal. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Lasuba Memo and the listeners of iRadio, taking you through the sports stories. The Morocco Under-20 national team has advanced to the FIFA Under-20 World Cup final after defeating France 5-4 on penalties on Wednesday evening in Chile. The match ended 1-1 after regular time and extra time, forcing a penalty shootout to decide the winner. The Atlas Lions opened the scoring midway through the first half from the penalty spot after Ismail Bakhti was fouled inside by the box by France Andrea Leboni. Yasser Zubiri successfully converted the penalty to give Morocco the lead. Elsewhere, India is set to host the Centenary Commonwealth Games in 2030, the second time in 20 years that the event will have been held in the world's most populous nation. The city of Ahmedabad in the west of the country has been chosen ahead of Abuja in Nigeria by an evaluation commission from governing body Commonwealth Sport. And the decision to hold the games there in 5 years' time is now expected to be ratified at the organization's General Assembly in Glasgow on 26 November. Ahmedabad can boost the Narendra Modi Stadium, the largest in the world, with a capacity of 132,000, which hosted the Cricket World Cup final in 2030. Finally, basketball's world governing body, FIBA, has suspended the British Basketball Federation and banned the men's team from international competition because of governance issues. A FIBA task force was set up in August to investigate regulatory non-compliance within British basketball. In April, the BBF awarded a 15-year license to run a new professional men's competition, the Great Britain Basketball League, to GBB League Limited. The BBF said GBBL, a consortium led by the American businessman Marshall Glickman, could provide €15 million funding in the first 2 years. However, the existing 9 Super League Basketball SLB clubs claimed the tender process run by the governing body was illegal and unjust and refused to join the new league. That's all from the world of sports. Back to you, Lasuba Memo.
Thanks, Walmapal. This is iRadio News, and now to recap the bulletin, here are the headlines once again. The heads of key security institutions have agreed to work together to remove roadblocks and improve safety along major roads in the country. Youth from Unity State have raised concerns to Vice President Taban Tenkai over what they describe as discriminatory practices in the awarding of scholarships and employment opportunities to oil companies operating in their home areas. And a civil society activist has stressed that peace is the foundation for reviving South Sudan's agriculture and tackling the country's growing food crisis. That's the end of iRadio News. If there is a story or an event you'd like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message at +211 925 287870. It's also a WhatsApp number. Follow us on X at iRadio Juba, like our Facebook page iRadio, subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for news in Arabic at 1:30. I am Lasuba Memo. Thanks for listening.